Good morning. They are singing, but I'm writing down my New Year resolutions, making sure every one of them is dotted and the T's and the I's crossed, and so that I polished and put that together for publication on 31st December. That's what I'm doing.
Let me tell them. Is that resolution?
Right. Okay. Good morning, Ghana. It's another Friday, and we're here. Yep. We're here just to excite you and make you a greater person today ahead of a new year. Thanks so much for your time with us. You've been with us for the past, how many days more to the end of the year? That's about
2 more days.
2 more days. Yes. Oh, so 363. Okay, those of you who know that 365 a year. So just a few, 2 more days to the end of the year. I am so glad and grateful to God that I'm alive and my voice can be heard, and you can see me sitting right here on your screens. And I know that the God you serve has also made you a great person in 2017, no matter the setbacks, no matter the challenges, no matter the difficulties. We're hitting another year. 2018, we can't wait to hug you and give you all that you need. The kisses, the hugs, and we'll do all that. Good morning once again, team. We're ready.
Good morning. Yes, indeed, we're ready. And again, thank you so much for joining us all these days. Of course, we couldn't have done this without you. But someone tried to mess up my morning yesterday. But I forgive you because we're just about going into another year. I prefer to leave the past behind and expect a bright tomorrow. And so certainly know that you are forgiven by me. You know yourself, so. Whatever it is. Yes, he bumped into my car yesterday and he left. He couldn't even say sorry, and I felt very upset, but sorry. I mean, I'll let it go.
Initially, I thought it was the one who proposed and pulled out.
No, hey, he cannot.
So it's all about positive vibes in 2018, and just know that anything that makes you happy doesn't need approval from anyone. Just be yourself. 2018. That's what we're expecting from you in 2018.
All right. Okay.
And while life is short, enjoy it, live it. Yes. Whatever you've set your mind to do, just go out there and do it. There's nothing that is impossible for God. It's just a matter of everything starts in the mind. Once you think it, you actually push yourself to attain it. And I'm sure we can all do that. So in 2018, I want to see Ghanaians pushing for excellence, reaching beyond the limits, because we have that capability. Let's not think that the black man does not have the ability to do whatever they want to do, and let's not let them deceive us that if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. 2018, go out and read, seek for knowledge, be knowledgeable, and use it. Yes, certainly.
We're tearing the books apart this morning, and the weekend. I don't know if the media has been quiet on what's happening on our roads, but it looks as if I'm yet to speak to any road safety official or the police MTTD, but it looks as if our roads are quite cleaner.
I think
we have not heard about accidents that have claimed lives. A few isolated cases. I had one in the Western region. Even that one, I cannot confirm it. It looks like roads are cleaner this time. People behaved well on the road. There was no overspeeding, and so everyone is safe, ready for 2018. Let's carry that on into the weekend. This is the last weekend. A lot of activities will certainly take place, and so the hustle and bustle of running around will be there. The city center will be choked. The roads, people will try to speed and go and come back. Hey, remember that a few more hours, a few more days, you're hitting a new year, so you got to be careful and stay safety, healthy, and stay with us into 2018.
Certainly. On that note, I think we should say kudos to the police. I think they're doing a good job managing the traffic situation, because certainly yesterday the traffic looked good and people were, following the rules and regulations of the road. And so, but I thought about them. And those Christmas when they have to work, of course I work as well, but let me speak for you. They leave their families and come and stand there.
We all do.
You could just... I don't like when they demand for it, but I think it's just nice if you have, the opportunity to bless them one way or another. Kindly do that.
I see.
In this
Yesterday, I met one after news at 10. I was going home and I decided to do a little witch hunting, so I drove through town. Then I got to a traffic light. It was almost 12 midnight, and the place was very quiet. Okay, very, very quiet. There were dark alleys all around, and the lights were red. And this was the man on a bike. And I said, Chief, I can't stay here. I'm scared. I have to go. So I drove through the red. And of course, I mean, the place was very quiet, and I couldn't have stopped. I mean, I feared risking anything. So I've seen a couple of them on motorbikes driving around town. And so it's indeed a great job for them. I think about 3,000 of them were put on the streets of Accra. They've done quite well. Let's come back into the new year and see the statistics and see how well we handled ourselves. All right, so the show is now from 9 a.m. We have another great singing group in the house. We'll let you see them in a couple of minutes. I saw them before I entered, and looking at their faces, I could easily smell those melodious voices. I'm waiting to hear. But George, we'll have the news. The last working day of the week. George has all the news, and so put in your best. It's the last working day of the year. Just put in the last best. You make sure that your blood drops today and wrap up the week. George, good morning once again.
Right. It's time for some news here on your favorite morning show, New Day. Thanks for staying in. On to our very first story. George Oponwia has been confirmed new president of Liberia, and ECOWAS describes the election as free, fair and transparent. Away from that, let's move to other news where government has explained only 1.5 million Ghana cedis is directly available to the Ministry of Special Development Initiatives per its budget out of the over 1 billion Ghana cedis appropriated ceiling made available in the 2018 budget. A statement signed by the Minister of Information, Mustafa Hamid, has said the Minister of Special Development Initiatives, Howard Kumsin, plays only a supervisory role over the development authorities and thus does not execute their project and programs directly. The clarification by government follows widespread outrage expressed by Ghanaians, especially the minority in parliament, civil society organizations and anti-graft agencies against the $1 billion budget approved by the parliament. The minority called for Mavis Howard Kumsin's resignation following the budget approval, describing her as incompetent to be at the helm of affairs. The debate on whether or not Uber riders should pay taxes has come up for discussion again after a ruling in Australia that riders should pay taxes. The ruling could have broad implications for Uber drivers who will now need to register for goods and services tax, and if left unchallenged, will give the tax office in Australia much greater insight into the company's tax practices.
More than 50,000 Uber drivers in Australia who use the service to make extra cash, ferrying passengers around, will now be required to pay taxes to the government after they lost a battle to the taxation office inside Australia. This has also been replicated in some other European countries. Now we are asking, should Uber drivers or riders pay taxes to government?
Okay, I think the drivers shouldn't pay tax. I think Uber should pay tax because technically they work for Uber, in as much as the drivers get a percentage of the final amount. Uber does get a percentage. So if the public drivers pay directly to government, then Uber should be held responsible for tax that their drivers incur.
An argument on tax payment has been raised by some local taxi operators close to a year. Some commercial taxi drivers in Accra have raised issues of illegality in the operations of Uber, a ride-sharing network company which has been operating within the Accra and Kumasi metropolis for the past year. The Umbrella Commercial Taxi Drivers Association Ghana in September questioned the use of private cars by Uber drivers.
We can be here the whole day and we can get about, let's say, 100 Ghana or something, which is not good at all. You, the government, you are benefit out of the revenue. If the taxi drivers are paying the revenue and the others are not paying, it's not good for us.
The Umbrella Commercial Taxi Drivers Association Ghana in September this year questioned the use of private cars by Uber drivers for commercial purposes. The commercial drivers say the action of Uber drivers is in breach of the Road Traffic Act, LI 2012, Regulation 141 1B 2180.
We go for roadworthy, they are also going for the income tax, which is the VIT. They don't go for a commercial licenses. I'm not sure they are using them. And when it comes to the AMS stickers and everything, they are not using any those things, which I think perhaps government need to come in. We are paying taxes to them, which I'm not sure probably they are paying to the government.
The drivers have consequently petitioned the Ministry of Transport against the use of private cars for commercial purposes. The Transport Ministry is yet to react to matters surrounding Uber company. A visit to Uber's website shows partners who drive or act as couriers on the Uber platform are classified as independent contractors. As an independent contractor, taxes are not withheld by the federal or state government. This means that it is your responsibility to file taxes at the end of each year. According to the Ghana Revenue Authority, Uber as a company has paid up its taxes. Uber lost a court challenge against the Australian Taxation Office that will force drivers to be registered to pay goods and services tax. Justice John Griffiths, who sat on the matter, found that Uber could be designated as a taxi service with its software and service offered. So we ask, are Ghanaian Uber drivers likely to pay independent taxes to government soon?
My colleague Nanekria Mensah Brampa filed that report. And back to Liberia, former football star George Weah has been elected as Liberia's president. With nearly all ballots from Tuesday's round of vote counted, Mr. Weah is well ahead of opponent Joseph Boakai with more than 60% of the vote. As news of Mr. Weah's victory emerged, his supporters began celebrating in the capital, Monrovia. He will succeed Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Africa's first elected female president in Liberia's first democratic handover in decades.
CDC, thank you, Mr. President, is 61.5% for the CDC and 38.5% for the United Party now. We will be reporting the final, hopefully tomorrow, Commissioner, tomorrow.
Away from Liberia, let's return to the shores of Ghana, where the Ghana Police Service has been ranked 8th best in Africa and 87th best among 127 countries globally. The ranking by the World Intersecurity Index adjudged the Botswanan Police as Africa #1.
The World Internal Security and Police Index (WISP) measures the ability of the police and other security providers to address internal security issues in 127 countries across 4 domains using 16 indicators. The aim of WISP is to firstly measure security providers' performance across the 4 domains of internal security, capacity, process, legitimacy and outcomes. The index ranked the Rwandan police as Africa's 2nd best and 50th in the world after Botswana, followed by Algeria 58th, Senegal 68th and Tunisia 72nd globally and number 5 in Africa. Completing the top 10 for Africa were Egypt 6th, Burkina Faso 7th, Ghana 8th, South Africa 9th and Mali 10th. 6 African countries were in the bottom 10 but above 50th position in the world. Cameroon and Mozambique in the 120th and 122nd spots, whilst Uganda, Kenya and Democratic Republic of Congo and Nigeria made it an African quartet at the bottom, occupying 124th to 127 slots. But Inspector General of Police David Asante-Apietu says the 4-year transformation agenda is capable of breaking these records by 2020.
In line with the vision of the Ghana Police Service, to be a world-class police service capable of delivering planned, democratic, protective and peaceful service up to the standards of international best practice, to foster cordial relationship between the police and the general public.
Deputy Interior Minister Henry Quartey deplored the repeated acts of unprofessionalism by some officers and called for discipline.
The advice I give is that let's discipline be our hallmark. Discipline on our roads, discipline in the combat of crime would be adhered to. We want the Ghanaian citizen to believe in the Ghana police without any bias.
He also urged the senior police officers to be shining examples and mentor the junior officers for posterity.
Minister for Railways Development Joe Garte has announced government will in the first quarter of next year evict all encroachers on railway lands. He denied assertions that the new railway line will not pass through Koforidua.
The move by the Railways Ministry to evict encroachers on their land follows an intended construction of 947-kilometer rail line to link Accra and Kumasi, the Ashanti regional capital. The ministry will also acquire additional land to extend the rail construction to Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso. The sector minister affirms intensive construction of the rail lines will commence early next year, hence the need to clear every impediment. Affected persons will receive no compensation.
The first 3-4 months we are going to clear the right of way. We have to. We don't have a choice because we have to save life and property. People are staying on railway land. We are not going to give compensation because trespassers are not entitled to compensation.
He denied assertions the new rail line will not pass through Koforidua. Joe Garte assured old train stations across the country will be given a facelift to enable existing ones render service to towns, while the new one will serve interregions.
Now, we are not going to leave the old towns out, and especially Koforidua. I've heard that there's some concern in Koforidua. I want to assure them that they are part of the Eastern Line. There is no way we are going to leave Koforidua out. Koforidua is the capital of the Eastern region. Quite apart from that, Koforidua also is a place where a lot of people live and work in Accra. It is important for us to have a commuter service from Koforidua to Accra.
Rail transport is the cheapest mode of commuting globally.
Meanwhile, the minister has promised to send TV3's special documentary, The Street Sex, to Parliament for perusal. On Thursday morning, a delegation from TV3 presented a copy of the documentary to the sector minister.
On December 21, 2017, TV3 premiered an exclusive news documentary about young girls illegally soliciting sex at the Kwame Nkrumah interchange area slum near the railway tracks. The slum also serves as a habitat for some suspected robbers. Immoral activities in the area have increased. Both expectant and nursing mothers engage in prostitution at the slum together with Nigerian nationals. Officers from the Ghana Water and Electricity Company of Ghana are unable to visit the area to demand payment of bills for fear of possible attack. The sex workers confirm officers from the Accra Metropolitan Assembly and the Ghana Railways Company allegedly collect bribes from them to legitimize their stay. On Thursday, a delegation from TV3 presented a copy of an exclusive documentary to the Minister for Railway Development, Joe Garte, for action to be taken. Joe Garte expressed enthusiasm about the expose and said he will engage Cabinet to ensure sanity in the area. He indicated the ministry has plans to clear all slums along rail lines in the country.
Forest rangers in the Juaso Forest District of Ashanti region are facing life-threatening challenges in the operations to protect forest reserves in their area. They've become vulnerable to repetitive assault and attacks by poachers and illegal chainsaw operators. A report by Benjamin Edu.
The illegal chainsaw operators invade the forest reserves armed with sophisticated weapons, but the forest rangers mostly work in reserves armless or with few rudimentary weapons. Brutal assault and attacks on forest rangers in Joaso Forest District continue to increase unabated. Some rangers have over the years been gunned down, while others have sustained various degrees of injury. What makes the issue more dangerous is the fact that perpetrators mostly work at night to thwart arrest. Joaso District Forest Director Rebecca Benin-Opan wants government to take immediate measures to address the life-threatening dangers associated with the work of forest rangers.
We have been trying to stop them for some time now, but we're not heading anywhere. So we decided that we'd rather use the community members who are against it and are also participants in planting the trees. They are the people we use in planting the trees. So if we ask them to take care of the trees that they have already planted, they will do it diligently. Then we'll have our peace of mind and go on with our operations.
This was during the launch of new community forest guard at Atwedie in the Ashanti region. The new guards, who are community members, are expected to protect the reserves in the area. She appealed to residents in the communities to help them protect the reserves. The Asante Achim District Police Commander, DSP Anyenin Andrews, was happy about the new intervention. He promised a strong collaboration between police and the Joaso Forest officials.
And now to the presidency, where President Akufo-Addo has charged the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining to use their office to monitor effectively all illegal mining activities to strengthen the fight against illegal mining. Commissioning a new secretariat for the committee in Accra, the president reiterated his resolve to see an end to the menace.
The Secretariat, located at the office of the President Annex Cantonment, is expected to be the rallying point of all information and activities to aid the fight against illegal mining.
Amen.
The chairman of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining and Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Professor Kwabena Frimpong-Boateng, said the Secretariat will strengthen the effort of the committee in the fight against galamsey.
We are going to set up a very efficient administrative system. There's a desk for all the ministers on the committee. Operation Vanguard will be here. We'll have a call center that will operate 24/7. We have installed a high-speed internet to enable us connect to the districts. And all the district mining centers will have computer parts. And we expect that every emergency will be reported on time.
President Akufo-Addo charged the Interministerial Committee not to relent on its efforts in dealing with illegal mining.
We're entering a new era in our efforts to formalize the small-scale mining industry so as to achieve sustainable mining with sound environmental practices. In the weeks and months ahead, I expect to see optimal coordination amongst participating ministries and the district mining committees, as well as close interaction with Operation Vanguard, small-scale miners, and the general public. I expect the committee to receive regular reports from mining centers so that illegal activities can be dealt with immediately. With the inauguration of the district committees in some 10 days, an important exercise will be carried out, and that is vetting of about 1,400 small-scale miners in all the mining districts of Ghana, allegedly the total population of all small-scale miners in the country.
He again pledged his commitment to see the end of the menace.
With this office in place, there's going to be constant, close, and effective monitoring and reporting of anti-galamsey activities so that the right thing is done all the time. This new phase will demonstrate our resilience and commitment to ensuring that our water bodies, lands, and forests, with their biodiversity, are not destroyed. My own personal commitment to banishing the specter of galamsey remains resolute and immutable.
That's it by way of news this morning. Many thanks for making time with us. For more news updates, log on to our website, 3news.com. Alternatively, you can also join the news team at 12 on NewDay Live. I'm Josh Quinning. NewDay continues after this break. Good morning.
Enyanum adofo sepe ayen fodo onikurient na afepa yedzotia nyamisira jojo Enyanum adofo sepe ayen fodo onikurient na yemamo afepa yedzotia nyamisira jojo afepa nina afepa afefo for swatu yen biom yemamo afepa yedzotia nyamisira jojo
Bye.
I don't know what else will. The newspapers are really retired now. They're on holiday.
But even before that, you know, the Pax Romana choir used to be a choir that very close to my heart. I remember way back on the campus of Legon. The choir master was my roommate. Nice. So Yani, I know you're watching. Your choir is here, and I'm sure you want to listen to them more. But they'll give us small tunes as we head into the new year. Stay right here. But for now, we'll jump into the newspapers and see what's happening. They are off stands today. So 3news.com has a lot of news this morning, and we're going to check out what's there. Amma.
Certainly. 3 News carries some stories, and it says Akufo-Addo pledges increased support for Galamsey fight in 2018. Of course, Bryce, that comes as interesting news to us, but the point is pledging is not enough. We need to see the action. We need to be convinced that there's work being done on the grounds. But also, Daniel Opare has been linked to EPL in January transfer. That's for sports. Also, 5 boys have been granted bail over gang rape in Osu, and that seems to be on an increasing trend. The fact that these gang rapes are happening and people are videoing it. This was, I mean, let's go into the story, because apparently it happened earlier on in the year. It says 5 teenagers have been granted bail at a sum of 10,000 Ghana cedis with a surety each after appearing in court for allegedly gang raping a 15-year-old girl in Osu, a suburb of Accra. The boys appeared before the Accra Circuit Court on charges of indecent assault, child pornography, and assault. They are said to have fondled the girl on Monday, August 21st, and forced her to sleep with them at a dark spot near Osu Salem School in Accra. The oldest amongst the boys, a senior high school student, 18, asked the rest, all in junior high school, to lure the girl while she was taking a stroll at the Ebenezer Presbyterian Church in Osu. In the video, they are seen inserting their fingers into the girl's vagina while the SHS student demanded to have sex with her. This was followed by the rest. They threatened her with a knife not to disclose the incident to anybody. But the prosecutor said videos of the act went viral, for which the uncle of the victim received a copy, and so on and so forth. But does it bring to mind what we're teaching the young ones, or what the young ones see parents or adults do and are copying blindly? And when it comes to that, it comes to education, doesn't it? Where you need to educate your children, first of all the girls, to know that they have the power within their mind to actually inform their parents or anyone of the perpetrators of these acts. But it seems in some families, because they don't talk about this sex, or they don't have the sex education, the child is afraid to open up to the parent because they might say she is the bad one.
We're yet to see what would happen in Kumasi about the same issue, and now we have another one on hand. I'm just hoping that we deal with this. We're told about exactly how to get to know the ages of these minors involved in this. But let's stop this before it gets out of hand. I think social media, some psychologists are suggesting social media could be part of the problem, but I'm hoping that we'll try and deal with it. But this is the second time. I'm hoping before we end the year we don't see another one.
Certainly. But also in politics, a minority is saying President Akufo-Addo should focus on crimes committed under his watch. I'm sure these crimes will, involve some of the corrupt practices that we've seen, and also the guru boys, whatever the militia, as now they are, as against the. I mean, the point of having these groups was good. It was to be on alert so that if you saw anything happening against your party, you could be on the alert. But right now, they've moved from that to becoming a militia. They're actually going against the law and involved in crimes, spoiling public property. Of course, that goes to us taxpayers, because we have to pay for them to be refixed, rebuilt, and so it's not something we should look at lightly. And minority does have a stake in this. Of course, when you're a minority, that's the whole point of being there, to get the government on their toes.
So let's see how it goes. If you're asking the president to focus on issues that is happening now, let's see how the president will handle it.
Of course, the MPs has also petitioned the speaker to investigate a $100,000 expatriate levy, and that story still goes on. But Prue East MP has also supported the Matthias Catholic Hospital on Xmas Day.
Okay. Showing love this Christmas is good. A lot of them are doing so. Let's see how it helps these facilities. They need help, not only when it's Christmas.
They do. And MP masquerades on Tadi Street. But you know, I used to be very afraid of the masquerades because they'll come out as Kaka Motobi and they'll be looking into the cars and all that. We were scared as children, but I'm sure now children know these are just facades and they party along with them on the Takrady Street. That's interesting.
Okay. Kwabena, good morning. I hope you're good.
Also, the Special Development Initiatives Ministry, Bruhaha, would help protect the public purse, and that's coming from the Minister of Information. And then also, Dr. Baumia offers himself as patron of Leprosy Society. He did visit them on Christmas Day
Talking
to share.
About the lepers, it's one thing that I guess we need to pay more attention to. We only get to hear about their plight during Christmas. I think that apart from that, we should get in more and support them. What they are being fed on, where they sleep, and how they live is such a terrible state. So Christmas, let's show them love, but after Christmas, let's continue the love.
Right, but what I have a problem when it comes to the lepers is the rehabilitation of them back into society. I seem not to really understand why their families fail to take them back. I think when it comes to that, we failed in education because before we thought it was so contagious that once they even came back home, they were going to infect those at home. But now, I mean, thanks to science, we've evolved from that. So it's high time we also advise or educate the families to understand that they're not contagious. Besides, they are yours. You only send them to a facility to be cured. If they have been cured, I think the onus lies on you as a family to take them back. It's just like the mental health, institutions. The fact that they're taking care, it's like a hospital. No one sleeps in a hospital perpetually. When you're cured, you are supposed to go back to your family and stay with them because it actually even helps in their healing process. When you know you have loved ones around you supporting you, then you get better. Yes. But when you leave them there, they actually go into depression. I mean, they lose their own self-worth because they feel now I'm no longer part of society. And so the families, especially in this Christmas time, it lies on you to go back and see your families, visit them, at least take them home with you. But it's time to rant.
Yes, the fact before we rant is that, they are even cured lepers.
Yes.
Okay, those you see in those centers are cured lepers. They are not with the disease. They are cured lepers. And Father Campbell will tell you he has eaten and done everything with them, touching and all that, and he's never gotten it. You know how deep he is into these lepers. Just help them. All right. Okay, let's come back. The Pax Romana choir is here. Look, just when I was talking about Pax Romana, Osei Boateng was trying to call my phone.
Oh.
Because Osei Boateng, please, I'm on TV. You can't call my phone.
At least it means he's
I know
watching.
your choir is here, but hold on. When we go on break, I'll call you.
Certainly. But it's time to rant. And like Bright told you this morning, he was writing his New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, I have.
You didn't see what was on the paper, but obviously it wasn't his New Year's resolution.
About 100 of them.
But the fact is, what do you have? Every year, we seem to make resolutions, but we don't really follow through with them. Is it that you don't understand why you write them, or you just write them as fashion because at the end of the year I have to write something to promote me into the next year? Let's see what people have out there on the street to talk about New Year's resolutions for 2018.
We are barely 2 days away to wrap up the year 2017, and it's that time of the year where people would want to undertake the normal ritual of making New Year resolutions. I guess you did some last year. Were you able to attain them? If not, I bet you're going to do some for next year as well. Kwame, my friend, will tell you they are needless because there's no sanction that accompany these resolutions. And so even if you don't achieve them, nobody is going to punish you for that. And so is it really necessary for us to make New Year resolutions? Welcome to Daily Rant. Did you make any resolutions last year?
Oh yes, I did.
So what are some of them?
31st night, I went to church. I started with prayers. And then, as a Christian, during the prayer process, I had to, put some things to God and then to myself personally as to what I look forward to or to achieve this very year, 2017. Some I achieved, some I couldn't. Yes, I did make a resolution, yes.
Did you make any resolution?
Oh no.
Why?
I see nothing special about making a resolution. Because I don't know, at the end of the day, if you are doing the same thing, the same way, you achieve the same results. So all you have to do is just know what to do at any given time, and then you're off.
How about you make any resolution?
I did a lot of them, and some were achievable, others I wasn't able to achieve. And it's a good thing to do as a young boy or a young man, and you need direction. You don't just wake up and begin to follow the crowd. There has to be plans. So I did, and I was able to follow. Yeah.
And then if you look at resolutions, people make them and then they don't accomplish it. I want to say that resolutions have become needless. There's no need for us to do it because at the end of the day, we don't meet the targets that we set for ourselves because we don't have self-discipline.
Yeah, self-discipline, yes. That would be one of the factors why we can't achieve some resolutions. Also, I see it also to be the part of the world where we find ourselves. You understand? Some of the resolutions we make, it needs financial backing to achieve. But because the economy or the country in which we are, the leaders who even make resolution, which we tap from to also make ours, don't achieve. So it makes it difficult for us to achieve. And then secondly, I believe if we should put prayer, we need to put God first. Sometimes we believe we made resolution, but if we don't constantly ask God to direct and then guide us in achieving those things, it won't be possible. That's the religious aspect of me. Yeah.
Don't you think people lack self-discipline to enable to fulfill their resolutions?
Yes, self-discipline is very key because even in our dealings with God day to day, we tell God we are not going to do this. But the next minute, we find ourselves doing it. You understand? Even we're dealing with God, we commit blunders and we do the same things that we tell God that we are not going back to. How much yourself that I'm not going to do this? Imagine a lady who wants to marry. Maybe he has gone to church last year, prayed, God, this year I want to marry. God, fine. God will give you the opportunity, which is the life for you to live. You understand? If you don't change certain things or certain behaviors, the way you speak to people, well, you understand, there are certain things that you have to change about yourself before you can attract a man. If you don't change all those things and you are in church 31st night and you are still disturbing God, you are still disturbing God. I think God will never listen to you.
It is good to dream big and then you start small. I come from a background in a church where almost every year, the International Central Gospel Church, next year, for instance, is our year of power. So the team actually directs us as to what to pursue in that particular year. So it's more or less like a direction and a focus for us. And then, when you have a good leader as well, who is very focused and has gone through, the norms, it's a sort of, motivation to you as well. He's been there before, so you have so much confidence in him. So I believe self-discipline is key, but you also need to motivate yourself as an individual to pursue some of these things. Very important.
If a job gives you a contract, maybe meet this target, you put in everything to meet the target. But with resolution, it's more like commitment with God. At the end of the day, if you don't meet the target, there'll be no sanction. Don't you think that's the reason why people would want to, approach it with this lukewarm attitude?
That's what I'm saying, that in our dealings with God, everyday dealings with God, we tell God we are not going to do this. And the next minute, like Paul said, that the things that I want to do, I don't do them. You understand? Because we are flesh. So I think that's like self-discipline. And then resolution, yes, you can resolute. You can say all the beautiful things, parcel it, and make it beautiful to yourself. But I think that if you are not committed to something, just because people are doing resolution, you want to do it. Because most of the young guys, or most of us, because the word is resolution, everybody want to be seen, doing something, saying something. So I think that, I don't know, we as human beings or we as individuals need to set targets, not the year, the day after or the next year. Any time, any minute, any moment, you need to pray for God's strength and set targets for yourself and achieve it.
Can I clarify something? You mentioned about contract and personal resolution. These are two different things altogether. When there's a contract for you, probably it comes with a budget. There is a fund for implementation, so you don't struggle. You already have, strategies to, accomplish it. But when it comes,
but here's the case. Maybe you said, say, next year I'll get a car. You are being paid salary. There's money there, so there's still some, relation there.
But even with that, you are supposed to save. You don't spend all your salary to go and buy a car. You have a family, you need to save some. Probably maybe you've given yourself 6 months or 2 years to buy the car. But when it is contract, for instance, you've been given $1 million to execute the contract in 6 months or 1 year. You have the money, the funds are there. The most important thing is to get, the human resources and execute.
We have something we call unrealistic resolutions.
Yeah.
Yes, unrealistic.
You are paid thousands, you want to buy a Jaguar.
You want to buy V-Wagon. You want to buy...
It's a G-Wagon.
G-Wagon. You want to buy the alligator and the navigator. Meanwhile, your salary, you can't even save. And you want to buy a car.
Hand to move.
You are telling God, God, I want to buy a car. Yes. God, I know one thing for sure, that God is not a magician. He's a principle person. When you do this, God said, when you do this and do this, God, I'll do this and do this. You understand? If you save, maybe from 10 years to come, you might be able to afford the Hammer one. You understand? But if your family is such a way that every day your 10, before your salary comes, you've budgeted for it. Anything, you don't have anything. You don't have anything. Even your tithe you can't pay. So what are you praying for? Just pray that God give me long life, give me a better job, and let me do. Finish.
See, I had a target this year to marry. Seriously, I plan to get married this year. But
what happened?
Yes, per my salary, I decided to save this amount of money. But like I realized, as we entered this year, utility bills started going up. My trotro bills also went high. You understand? So all those...
That was like 20 pesos, 40 pesos.
Who told you that? Where I pick out to and fro, now the increment is like 1 CD, 80 pesos, in and out. Yes, that is the in and out increment per what I had last year. Based on that, I made those resolutions. You see, my utility bills now I pay like 50 Ghana, 100 Ghana per month. You see, all those things.
That is why we have something called projections. You don't understand? You have to anticipate that if I want to marry, you know, there are things that I have to get already. You understand? Like you said, you know, this part of the world or in our country, you can just wake up in the morning and wake up and they say, oh, petrol has gone up, lorry fares have been shot up and things like that. So personally I think that whenever you want to do something, you
are not being because why I'm saying you're not being realistic is that my salary wouldn't change. If it is 1,000 Ghana I'm taking every month, be it my light bill goes up or not, I'll still take 1,000 Ghana cedis, and it affects that because it is out of.
Unless maybe the minimum wage is raised or something.
So if this is raised, then I can achieve my target. This is still the same, and I'm still paying higher than what I pay initially. How can I achieve it?
But you've resolute. You've made it that you want to marry next year, and you know that you are in a country that anything can happen at any given time. You have to factor those things into your resolution as well. That when things like this happen, okay, I'll go this way. That's what I have.
So who are we deceiving then when we make these resolutions? Who are we deceiving then?
Sometimes I feel we're deceiving ourselves, one, but sometimes also it is good to make resolutions. Why? Because those are like some of the things you need to do to achieve certain things in life. You understand? What we also need to look at critically is that we shouldn't always look at it that I'm in 2017. So no, let's just take it like the way it comes: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday again. We should just take it that way and then make sure we save. Even if you don't achieve it, you get half of what you plan to achieve. That one is a plus. It's like you achieve it. Okay. In 2 years, you could make it.
Let me ask this question. With the resolutions, you pen them down, let's say a diary, and then you write it down, or you just say it to yourself?
Yeah, all right. So basically, challenges will come, never give up. But there's one thing about, making a resolution as well. The Bible says, in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. People have been there where you want to be. Okay, for instance, like my brothers, I also want to get married. I was unable to do it, but I've not given up. I thank God that my fiancé has not given up on me. We are still pursuing. Next year will be the year, and I'll invite you three to come and cover.
We'll come in another, but we'll be there. So the thing is, if you set up this target, that's what I want to achieve, and you don't make it, and we are just, some few days away to, wrap up the year 2017, it means we should not do any resolution for next year then.
No. Let's make plans each and every day, and then maybe a week I decide not to smoke. If I'm a smoker, I say, okay, I smoke maybe 10 packets of cigarettes. Okay, let me reduce it to 9 a week. Gradually, I will get there. But if you do long-term planning that you can't even fulfill it, I think that is just so. We should live our life not because everybody is doing it, everybody is saying it. Let's just plan our lives according to how we can what we can achieve, and then make it realistic. It's better than building a castle in a head.
Okay, so your resolution last year was to make marry this year, and you're not able to fulfill it. So it's carry forward.
It was not only marriage. There were other.
So the marriage is carry forward.
Yes, it will go into.
So why won't you let's just make things happen? If it happens, it happens. I shouldn't do resolutions?
No. You know, it's a system. Just like if you go to school, you have a course outline of what to expect per semester. You understand? It's a system. If you don't have it, you wouldn't plan your life properly. You need to plan it per that course outline you've given yourself. That is why you need to do.
You're not meeting the target.
No, you will not meet it, but like you will be in the process too. That makes it easier to achieve the following year if you're not able to achieve it this very year. So it is very necessary to do that, because we are in a world where we've psyched our mind that 31st December is like a year is ending. We are going to a new year. So we are putting away old things. You know, we're trying to throw away some things and then go into newer things. That is how our life has been planned to. That is how we've psyched ourselves to. So definitely it is needed. It is only useless people who won't like set plans or have resolutions for a new year.
If you're a woman, sit down, take stock of your life. If you want to get married and not attracting a woman.
Talk to yourself, to the men.
Oh, and the man too. You know, hustling not be easy. So let's see. We need a good woman.
So, okay, did you make any resolutions last year? Were you able to attain them? If not, are you going to make new ones for 2018? Let's know what your resolutions are. Log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's News on TV3. And on Twitter, it's a News TV3. Our WhatsApp line is 050-803-5228. Just send us your resolutions. We are ready to read them and share them with the rest of the world.
This is what it feels like.
Welcome back to New Day. Time now to take a look at what's happening on the newsstands. They're absent today, but the portals are working. All the news you can get there. This morning, we'll take you straight away to TV3, and the minority and majority are battling as to what should happen to the Special Initiatives Development Ministry with the budget. The majority leader, Osechi Mensah-Bonsu, has described as unnecessary the attempt by the minority to bring Parliament back from recess. If you remember, minority is asking for the Speaker to call back the House for a discussion on the budget of the Special Development Initiative Ministry. Now we have a statement also here, and Wutu government has explained that only 1.5 million is directly available to the Ministry of Special Development Initiatives per its budget out of the over 1 billion appropriated ceiling made available in 2018. Yesterday, the majority leader spoke. We quickly listened to him, and I'll tell you who my guests are to do the conversation this morning.
The minority in Parliament has requested the Speaker to summon the House for a special sitting to investigate the Trade Ministry's collection of various sums from expatriate businesses. The request was contained in an emergency motion to the Speaker, Professor Michael Quay. Reacting to the issue, the majority leader said the motion should have been the last resort in the processes of getting attention to the matter being raised. He said the minority had the option of filing an urgent question if it is not admitted by the Speaker, adding they could also seek to raise the issue in a statement on the floor of Parliament or a motion. But these avenues, according to the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, have not been exhausted.
I do not know of any such application to the Speaker, either through a question or a motion or a statement. I have not heard of any such resort at all. And then we go on recess, and the first working day after we proceed on recess, we are summoning Parliament. It would seem to me that clearly is an abuse of the processes of Parliament.
He alluded to an episode where they majority, then in minority, petitioned the House to reconvene during a break to discuss some issues, saying the two scenarios have different premises.
In our case, we applied to the Speaker. By way of an urgent question, he refused. We came by a motion, he refused. On both occasions, the Speaker tried to persuade us to abandon it. We refused to abandon it, and since the doors were closed, those were the only options open to us, which is what we did. In this case, the matter has not suddenly arisen. It was with us before we went on recess, and if we had any cause to call Parliament to interrogate the issue, we had the opportunity to do that. You didn't do that. And then when we proceed on recess, and then you want to spring it as a surprise on us. I don't think that's the way it should be managed.
The emergency meeting is likely to be called in the second or third week of January, depending on how the 7 days are calculated, which will not be too far from the 23rd, when the House is expected to resume.
The question then is, do you, because it's not a matter of urgent national importance, do you think it is proper that you summon Parliament to meet on the 11th, and then we discuss an issue, and then whatever the conclusion is, Parliament proceeds on leave again and comes back the following week?
So are you then saying that it wasn't necessary to file this motion?
That is my considered opinion. However, it's their right. But I think that we need to dialogue on them on it. If they insist, then we need to meet to debate it.
So if the majority had its way, you would talk them out of, convening this meeting?
Well, we judge on it. We didn't just want to talk them out, but you judge on it to see the reasonability of that enterprise.
The leader of the House there, and pardon me for saying that the recall was about the Special Development Initiatives Ministry. It's indeed about the Trade Ministry's issue with the expatriate awards. We'll tie that in with the latest on the Ken bond. That's how it has become to be known, the $2.5 billion bond. And my guest to do the talking this morning, a member of the NDC's legal and communication team, Ms. Abraham Maliba is here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Merry Christmas.
Same to you, and prosperous New Year in advance.
Great. Welcome. And then I have the Minister of Information, Mustafa Hamid, too. Good morning, too.
Good morning.
Merry Christmas.
Many happy returns, man.
Grateful for your time this morning. Now, let's quickly tie in what Mr. Osechi Mensah-Bonsu, the conversation he had with a reporter there, and then we can move on to the other issues. Now, the issue has gotten to the point where the minority is thinking that Parliament should have a say in whatever happened, even though it started from there. Let me begin with you. The leader of the House is suggesting that they could have done it some other way. And this is how they chose to do it. Can't we close, or how do we close this chapter on this issue?
Well, good morning again to the viewers. The question as to how do we close this matter is entirely in the bosom of those who believe that the longer the matter stays in the public space, the more political mileage they gain from it. So it's entirely up to them. Suffice it to say that, as far as we are concerned, that there was no issue at all.
So it's been closed?
As far as we are concerned, they are basically flogging a dead horse. And the only advantage that they seek to gain is that, you know, they can keep a certain conversation alive, which they believe that the negatives of it may rub off the government, and thereby they can gain some political mileage and so on. But everybody is convinced, or at least the majority of the people are convinced by the explanations that the Minister for Trade has given. And you saw that he issued a detailed statement, you know, detailing from day one what happened, the purpose of the awards, how the awards were funded, etc., all the way to when the awards were held and who won awards and so on. Some of the participants at that function, the expatriate business people, have themselves come out and said that there were many of them who were sitting around the table with the president who didn't even pay a dime, who were not even sponsors. So first of all, the allegation that anybody who sat anywhere near the president paid a certain amount falls flat in its face. Now, in the face of that evidence, what else do you want us to continue to, if you want, haggle about? You know, and so that's the number one issue. The number two issue is that the minority is calling on Parliament to reconvene in order to deal with this matter. Now, per what the majority leader is saying, and per what we also know as conventional parliamentary practice in our country, Parliament is recalled from recess when a matter has arisen which was not a subject of discussion in the House before. In other words, an emergency matter.
Right.
Okay, a matter that was unforeseen and etc., etc. This matter is not an emergency matter. It's been in the public space for all this while, whilst Parliament was sitting. The deputy, the majority whip, or what honorable minority, is he, yes. Is he whip?
Well, yes,
yes,
minority chief whip.
Okay, the minority chief whip, the honorable Muntaka of Asawase, had cause to discuss, to talk about the matter on the floor of Parliament. People made contributions and etc., etc. So it's not a new matter that has arisen, and therefore we have to recall Parliament. And so as far as I'm concerned, one, it is red herring. Number two, it is just meant to give them something to continue to chew about, because of course we are called opposition, and therefore because we are called opposition.
But they claim they have documents showing that indeed some monies were paid.
So why aren't they putting this in the public space all of this while? They should put it in the public space. That's number one. And of course you have said that we'll come to another matter, which is the bond issuance issue.
Right.
Two is that there are also these constitutional bodies that have the power, you know, to investigate these matters. So if you have documents if you want, vindicating your position, okay, you can go to those constitutional bodies and say that we have evidence, but either the government or parliament is not giving us an opportunity to put this in the public space. So take these documents, investigate the matter, and let the public know what it is. They are not doing any of those things. They are basically in the public space, in, if you want, the court of public opinion, and trying to influence minds, you know, in order to continue to, what shall I say, put it in the minds of the Ghanaian people that the NPP is not a transparent government, or that we are corrupt, and etc., etc. So as far as I'm concerned, it's just for political mileage. And I think that our democracy should be able to rise above people seeking simply to gain political mileage.
You're not worried about the perception that there's something untoward? Is government not worried about it?
You see, oftentimes I tell people that I am no longer in the class of people who believe that the Ghanaian people are gullible and that they swallow hook, line, and sinker everything that they are told, either by the media or by political actors. I think that the NDC is still in that age. You know, in communication studies, they call something the hypodermic needle theory. That, you know the way a needle operates, that you inject people with a substance and then they react based on the injection. So the NDC continues to believe that once you can continue to inject a certain, if you want, philosophy or a certain propagandistic material continuously into the people. Of course, you know the famous Gobel, the famous Gobelian statement that if you repeat a lie often, it either becomes the truth or it is believed to be the truth. And so they still live by the Gobelian theory, and then they continue to say, let's keep repeating it, let's keep repeating that at the expatriate awards there was something untoward, people were selling seats and blah, blah, blah. And that perception would crystallize and become truth. As I said, I am not in that category anymore, and I believe firmly that these Ghanaian people now are very discerning. They know what is truth and what is falsehood. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not worried at all.
Okay.
They can continue to do what they do, but people will sift the grain from the chaff.
All right. Finally, do you also believe that corruption is largely perception?
Oh, that is why even the global organization that has carved a reputation for itself, like the Integrity Initiative. Here in Ghana, it's called Ghana Integrity Initiative. But worldwide, it's called Transparency International. That's why the Transparency International calls its corruption reports the Corruption Perception Index, CPI. Because corruption, yes, it's basically a matter of perception, except in cases where people go beyond the perception to specifically petition constitutional bodies on, if you want, evidence or that people go to court, the attorney generals, or in the case of the Honorable Martin Amidu and etc., they take specific cases to court where courts specifically rule on certain matters, and then we know for sure that something untoward happened in those cases. But otherwise, generally, corruption is a matter of perception, yes.
I'm grateful. Mr. Malbaso, is this a red herring?
Let me start by saying good morning to your viewers. It is interesting that my good friend, and when I say my good friend, it's actually my good friend, you know?
Yes.
It's actually my good friend. He was my mate at the University of Cape Coast, the same year group.
We were in Casford together.
We were in Casford together. Indeed, he was my team manager. I was playing number 5.
Oh, I see.
That's so true.
You know, he is saying that he doesn't belong to that school of thought. That thing that everything that is said is true and that Ghanaians are not gullible. He's forgotten that in the lead up to the elections, he held a press conference and accused the former president of giving bribe to the Northern Regional Chairman. This, they have not been able to substantiate. He's saying that at that time, Ghanaians were gullible. You see, this is a very serious matter. And I'm shocked that the majority leader is even casting doubt as to the mode of calling back Parliament. I have here the Constitution.
No, he's not doubting the legal process. He's only worried about the fact that in a few days' time into the new year, Parliament will sit. And so
why is he worried?
If you bring them back and then they will go and then they are back again.
He can't be worried because the minority is doing is actually within the constitutional provision of Article 113.
Right.
And this provision, Article 113, has been lifted and replicated in their standing orders, Order 38. You know. And so the minority is perfectly within its right to want to have this sitting. After all, we know the legislature has oversight responsibility over the executive. And these are matters that happen within the executive. This issue of taking monies from expatriates are matters that happen within the executive. So the legislature has the right to want to exercise its oversight responsibility, and that's what they are doing. I am shocked to hear that the ministry has been cleared by who? By an interested party in the person of the president, and you think that once the president says that there was nothing untoward, the Minister of Trade has come to explain, we should take everything hook, line, and sinker. Is the president, and for that matter, the Minister of Trade, not an interested party in this matter? How can they be judges over their own issues? And how can that bring closure to this matter? Indeed, the question is, on what basis did they arrive at that conclusion they arrived at? And how do we, as Ghanaians, believe in the conclusion when we don't know the processes leading up? You call a minister and say, explain to me by 5 o'clock. And the minister comes by 8 p.m. and explains to you. And you say, hooray, it's Uhuru, let's all go and sleep. We can't live in a democracy like this. And my worry is, and that's how I get worried. People say I get hypertension. But my worry is, if these same things were happening under the NDC, this man sitting on my right-hand side. My God. My God.
I see. He would have said something different.
Worse than what we are doing. But you see, this is a government that is jittery and are always in 6s and 7s when they are accused of the very same things that they accuse the NDC of. How so do I mean? You remember the Minister of Agric, when a journalist put it to him that, look, your inability to deal with the army worm, sparks of incompetence. You saw how he was ranting everywhere, angry. But these are the same ways they use against us.
So your suggestion is that Parliament is best placed to deal with this. Is that what you're saying?
In fact, in some serious jurisdictions, Parliament would have summoned the Minister of Trade and his deputy. And I'm not even talking about far away, just in South Africa here. We've seen what is happening to Zuma in the South African Parliament. They would have summoned the minister to come and appear before a committee to explain why these things happen. Look at the disgrace. My good friend here is saying that the same people, the expatriates, some have come out to say that they did not pay a dime.
It's the argument is that it's a normal practice in some jurisdictions. I mean, people pay to attend ceremonies and all that.
We also have, the minority, have on record some expatriates saying that they paid. Now, when you look at the explanations,
they contributed to sponsorship, or they paid. They paid to sit by the press.
So you see, aren't you also in doubt That's why you're asking for clarification. He's also in doubt. So that is why the sitting must happen.
I'm very clear.
That is why the sitting must happen, to clear those doubts. Also contradictory statements from the Deputy Minister for Carlos Ahinkra, who could not contain himself and nearly manhandled Samuel Okujeto. If you want somebody in the NDC to beat, we'll give him Koko Anyodo. He should leave Okujeto for now.
What he said was 2 more days to the end of the year.
Yes,
so.
yes. But he was going to attack Okujeto. We'll give him Koko Anyodo. You see, the issue here is, you heard the Deputy Minister say that, oh, no monies were collected. And if they were even collected, they were given to the private company. You heard that. Then you heard the chief executive of the private company, something millionaire, something, indicate that, oh, some monies were kept with the ministry. The question to ask is, did that contravene the Fees and Charges Act in this country? Did that contravene? So there are a lot of questions. And we cannot just listen to our new commander-in-chief of clearing corrupt public officials and say that is it. Our president has now become a clearer of corrupt practices in this country. Once somebody has been accused of corruption within his government, he now comes, mounts the moral high ground, and then says, look, I didn't see any acts of corruption. But this same man was the person pointing accusing fingers at the former president for ballooning Kaswa interchange, ballooning Rich Hospital, and even cited, what did they call it, diaries, which were non-existent, that some amount was used. Today, same things are happening in your government. Instead of you to turn around and look at what is happening within, you are rather clearing them and giving them a clean bill of health. The Bank of Ghana doesn't even clear checks the way our president is clearing his ministers.
All right, I'm grateful.
You know,
a quick reaction then.
Yes, no, my reaction is a very simple one, and it's basically a question to him. Can he name one expatriate who says that he paid $100,000 in order to sit by the president? Tell the Ghanaian people who this fellow is, and then we close the matter.
Right. Since that person isn't in our studios, if the minority has the name and the document, I guess the information minister has said that there are institutions that they can petition. So
forget even the institutions, put it in the public space here.
We don't want the name here.
You wait, Bright.
Put it in the public.
I will not drink from his poison chalice. I won't drink from it.
Okay.
I am a lawyer. I know how people's reputations can be damaged. And that person has not authorized me to do that. This bait. Really? This bait. You are baiting me, Mustafa. I will not take the bait.
We've been telling you from the
I am saying that the minority that at the moment is calling for that meeting has the documentation.
Documentation.
Okay. So they will confront the minister if this bipartisan probe is done.
Okay, so you have the evidence,
so
but you're
holding on to
not put
names down.
Okay.
You are a vindictive government. If we put a name out there and you are out chasing that person, what do we do?
But at that bipartisan probe, there will be MPP people sitting there. Or what is your understanding of bipartisan?
And
you are going to put the name
when
there.
we get there. But did you put out a name of who said they didn't collect? And you are giving me a poison chalice to drink and die? I won't.
Mr. Hamid, right. He said he won't put out the name there and that they have the evidence and then
you have not even put out the name and you want me to put out the name.
They will hold on to it at the appropriate time.
Who told you that nobody did?
The expatriates who sat there,
Mr. Amanda, you just allow him to make his reaction.
Some of the expatriates who sat on the presidential team, so-called, have come out and said that they didn't pay a dime in order to sit there. They have come and said that. So also come get your fellows who say that they paid that money to also say so, to refute what the others said.
So
that's a very simple matter.
Okay, so you think that they should let out that information at a forum so that we deal with this once and for all, if they have it?
Absolutely. They should put it out.
Then let's move on.
No, this is what is called a proper forum.
Parliament is not a proper forum. Your chief whip was on the floor and spoke eloquently about the matter. Parliament is not a proper forum for you to put out this name of somebody who paid this kind of money to sit by the president.
You are asking me to name somebody here.
All right,
and
that's why I'm saying that.
This is not a proper forum
yes, that's
for me to point out names or put out names. The proper forum is where the minority is asking for.
Okay.
Provide that forum, and the minority will do the needful. But for you to ask me to give out names here, this is not a proper forum.
Okay. I'm grateful. Let's move on. Now, this statement from the Ministry of Information says the government has explained only 1.5 million is directly available to the Ministry of Special Development Initiatives per its budget out of the over 1 billion appropriated ceiling made in the 2018 budget. The Information Minister signed the document and said that the Minister of Special Development Initiatives plays only a supervisory role over the development authorities and thus not execute their projects and programs directly. I'm sure you know all too well about this issue where the minority is even asking for the head of the Special Development Minister. Honorable Hamid, let me begin with you. So the statement clarifies a whole thing about the budget, that it's only 1.5 million that is available to. So the rest goes where?
The rest of it goes to the development authorities. First of all, let me explain in brief how budgets are prepared and the processes that we go through to prepare budgets. When the Ministry of Finance gives you what they call the budget ceiling, okay, budget ceiling being that they tell you that in 2018, for example, Ministry of Information, the maximum amount of money that will be available to you to spend will be, say, 20 million Ghana cedis. That's your budget ceiling. Now, you go to the Ministry of Finance to defend, or even if you want, to refute, to try to convince them to increase your ceiling or whatever they call it the budget hearing.
Right.
When you've gone to your budget hearing and come to a conclusion, they will write back to you and say, per the budget hearing that you came to, this is the amount of money available to you. Now, at the Ministry of Finance, there's something called the Hyperion. Okay? Hyperion being a list of, if you want, budget items.
Okay.
Okay, that are there. They are fixed in a software that your civil servants or public servants in your ministry will take the budget ceiling amount and then go and enter it into the Hyperion. In other words, divide it into the budget items, making sure that at the end of the day, it totals the budget ceiling.
Right.
That is what they print out for you, the minister, to scrutinize and then take to your parliamentary select committee to make a defense of. And then from the parliamentary select committee, they will do a report for the committee of the whole, for the entire parliament, where you as minister will also appear again to make a certain last minute defense of it and then move a motion for the acceptance of your ministry's budget. Now, this is the processes. Now, the point I'm trying to make to you is that the budget items in the Hyperion, which are basically uniform, the same for all of the ministries. For example, fuel, capital expenditure, goods and services, etc., etc. They are the same for all of the ministries. Now, the document that the NDC people were bandying in the public
one we saw on social media.
The one you saw on social media, which said website development, which said a lot of all of these funny things, first of all, are not in the Hyperion.
Okay.
And indeed, the appropriated budget, the final budget for the Special Development Initiatives Ministry, which has been passed and approved by Parliament, and which is there in the public space. And since we put out this statement yesterday, some journalists have gone and printed it, have really seen that many of the items that the NDC put out in the public space, which was causing, if you want, a certain unease in certain sections and sections of the population, are not even captured in the approved budget. They don't exist. So that is why the majority leader told you that this particular document was mischievous. It was a mischievous document that was put out by the NDC in order, even to begin to bastardize the budget process before it had come to conclusion. That's number 2. Number 3.
But even before you go to number 3,
yes.
The minister's aide was trying to explain some of these items on the list you're talking about.
Yes, but in my statement also, I have explained some of those items. But I'm coming to that.
Okay, please go.
Number 3, and the more important and fundamental matter, is that by putting out that statement in the public space, the NDC sought to make the point that there was an intention to steal public money. Not public money had been stolen, that there was an intention, because a budget statement is a statement of intent. And that by the budget statement, there was an intention to steal. He's a lawyer. First of all, how you are able to read intention in that manner beats my own imagination. But suffice it to say that we have said that in the 2016 election, and I'm sure you heard us very clearly, we have said that we are going to institute a system where development is done from bottom to top, rather than from top to bottom. And to actualize that vision, that we were going to establish 3 development authorities: the Northern Development Authority, the Middle Belt Development Authority, and the Coastal Belt Development Authority, which will be responsible for intervening and directly supervising the execution of developmental projects in our 275 constituencies. Are you following me? So the Special Development Initiatives Ministry was set up by the President merely to serve as a supervisory agency or body for coordinating the work of the 3 development authorities. It is not directly responsible for the execution
of the project.
Otherwise, it would be the same bottom to down approach to development, which we say we want to flip. Are you following me? So, per what I have explained to you, the entire budget available to the ministry as a supervising body is 1.5 million Ghana cedis. The rest of that money is going to be, as they say, divided depending on the number of constituencies that exist in each
the various authorities.
Exactly, and giving to them. And if you calculate 1.2 billion, it comes up to exactly $1 million per constituency at an exchange rate of 4.6 cedis to $1. Are you following me? So that clearly tells you that that money is meant for the constituencies, for projects to be executed by the development authorities. So first of all, the Ministry for Special Development Initiative, even if it had an intention to steal the money, has no capacity to steal the money, because the money is not going to...
They will not be in charge of disbursing
at all. The money is not going to be in the accounts or anything of the sort. Those monies are going to be lodged with the development authorities when they come into place. And that's the point we are making. The last point that I want to make is that the contentious items, amongst them being the so-called borehole, per my statement, I admit that the use of borehole was, if you want, the wrong nomenclature. It was the wrong word to use. You know, what the ministry envisages for the development authorities to put in our communities is a whole community water system. So they should have said community water system, which comprises overhead tanks, solar run panels, and then with multiple, if you want, dispensing points, and so on and so forth. It's huge. And of course, the organizations like UNICEF, Guinness Ghana Limited, and so on have done some of these projects, and everybody knows what the prices for which they did them is. Secondly, the classroom blocks that we envisage to put in our communities under this development projects concept is not a bare 6 classroom block. Said that there's going to be an ICT center fully equipped because of the government's policy to promote the study of science and technology, and so on. There will be staff common rooms, there would be libraries, well-stocked libraries, and so on. So it's not your normal conventional 6 classroom block. So of course, the cost of that type of project will be different from a conventional 6 classroom block project. So we've explained all of these things in the statement that I put out to tell the Ghanaian people that there is no intention to steal anybody's money. And then the last point also being that there are processes for spending in this country. And those processes are very stringent, and we intend to abide by those. Because if you don't even abide by those processes, you are not going to get a commencement certificate from the Ministry of Finance in order even to be able to execute a certain project. So I am very clear in my mind that nobody had an intention to steal anybody's money.
A quick one before I go to Mr. Maliba. Some have argued that, for instance, the website could have been handled by our own agency, NETA, at no cost. Is it possible? You are with the Ministry of Information. Is it possible for NETA to handle the websites that were put in the budget?
Oh, it is possible for NETA to build a website for you. That's possible.
And that will be at no cost to the government, or perhaps a lower cost?
Oh, you would pay. NETA, when they provide us with, what shall I call it, even internet services in our ministry, we pay for it. We pay on a daily basis. There's a charge depending on the megabytes and so on, or gigabytes, or whatever that they provide you. You pay. So NETA's services are paid for by government agencies, even though it is a government agency. But perhaps, of course, being a government agency, the cost to government agencies perhaps will be lower than
to a private
person.
Grateful. Mr. Madra, please come in here. So the explanations of it should put this matter to rest. Perhaps the information flow didn't work well.
Well,
your friend is looking at you.
I know, that's why I'm not looking at him. If I look at him, I may not be able to fire. He may draw my sympathy. You see, this is damage control. And that's what is being paid for. The taxpayers' money is being used to do some of this, so I understand him. Did he say is the NDC that is brandishing a document?
Yes.
So is it the NDC that created that document? Who is the author of that document? You create a document. Which document is detailing information as to how the ministry needs money to embark on this project? Then you turn around and say that it's the NDC that is brandishing that document. Which document did you want us to brandish? It will be that document created by you. The 800,000 Ghana cedis, which has now metamorphosed back into 80,000, was what was put out by them. And so, if the NDC is raising red flags, and indeed, it's not only the NDC, I remember when this matter broke, the majority leader also spoke on it, and he indicated that he cannot live with the budget. He cannot live with it. That was his, I'm just quoting him. This is a document, I am told, was prepared by a team of people, and they were paid 2 million cedis for an error-ridden document such as this.
I see the information minister shaking his head. You see
there's information out there.
200 people, those who prepared the
budget?
There were
2 million cedis. Yes, there's information out there. Who says that they paid 2 million cedis for preparing that document?
You let him finish.
And see here.
Okay.
The minister was taken to the cleaners for allocating 2 million Ghana cedis towards preparing what has been described as error-prone.
Okay. I think you should correct him before he produces. This is a budget. This is a budget. It is not money that has been spent yet.
I'm saying that they prepared, those who even prepared it. Those who even prepared this is what they took. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
No. It is on record.
Let me finish. Those who prepare budgets, are they paid for the preparation? They are not paid. All right. So that's an allegation.
This is a specialized budget where people were asked to go to the constituencies and find out their needs to be inputted into this budget. So let me finish.
Okay, you go on. So those were the people who were paid.
They were paid for producing that error-ridden budget.
The point I'm trying to educate you about is that a budget statement is not money that has been spent. It is money that is intended to be spent.
But those who prepare
then you'll be a bad teacher. In this case,
no, Mr. Malaba, please hold on. In this case, he's suggesting that this is a special ministry.
All I'm trying to tell him is that if he has seen even 2 million cedis in that statement, that will be meant for budget preparation. It will only be alluding to the budgets of the development authorities when they come
not
into
the
place.
ministry.
Not the ministry.
Okay, so all right. Mr. Ahmad, I think that should be
I am clear.
So even if they will be paid,
I am clear. I'm saying that those who prepared the budget, 2 million cedis was allocated to their payment. That is what I've said. Now, you find also some huge amount allocated for renting offices for the trade development authorities. As we speak, he is aware. He knows where SADA, what they may only do is change a name, nomenclature. He knows where SADA is located. SADA is already housed. And SADA's rent is for the next 5 years. So tell me, if it is not an attempt to chop money, in quotes, why would you allocate that money in respect of SADA? Okay, for the other two, we can understand. Your argument may hold sway, even though people say it's on the high side, but your argument may hold sway.
That they don't have offices.
They don't have offices, they need to rent for them, and they have allocated that huge sum of money. Even that sum of money put together is more than 3 ministries. If you put the renting money together, it's more than 3 ministries. It's more than the Ministry of Sanitation allocated budget. So, if you do this, and you now come back, as he attempted to do, to explain away certain things, and to tell us that borehole, as stated in the budget, which is 132 million Ghana cedis, it's not actually a borehole, but a community water system. Now, who caused some? Is it the NDC who caused it? Is it the NDC that was not capable of explaining what that budget item is and said borehole? It's not the NDC. So these are damage control mechanisms, and we can all see through it. You appoint 110 ministers. Some of them not up to scratch. You call us incompetent. You have come. You are producing ministers who don't even read their own budget before they bring it to Parliament. And when red flags are raised, you say it's the NDC. You are the people who say you are going to protect the public purse. Boreholes were sunk under the NDC for 60,000. You want to drill a borehole for 132,000, and you say we should all go to sleep because who is in power? What's the word? Incorruptible Nana Akufo-Addo. The man is white. Once he's in power, nobody should talk about acts of corruption. You've heard the president threatening people now with persecutions. That will now in 2018 we'll see who those who are corrupt.
Prosecution, not persecution.
I knew prosecution was there, but I said persecution. Now, the point is, minority is not just engaged in acts that would suggest that they are mischief makers. These are real issues, bread and butter issues, which my good friend articulated during his days in opposition, and made it look like the public purse was being abused. It's the same thing we are doing. And I do not think that it is fair to call us mischief makers and that we want to put out information out there. We did not produce these documents. And for God's sake, the minority will continue doing its work. The minority will not shirk its responsibility because my good friend, Information Minister, whom people refer to as Misinformation Minister, would want to tell us that the NDC is being mischievous. What we are doing is holding them accountable. And the 132 million cedis, which is for the sinking of borehole, is outrageous. He's saying that it's a community water system. What I know, because the documents say it's a borehole, is too outrageous. And that is what they should be talking about.
All right. Okay. Mr. Amaliba.
Yeah, you see.
No, people are saying it's a misinformation.
Have you heard that?
It's him.
It's him who is calling you.
He says that. And then some of his friends in
so he has said it.
But you don't mind. I mean, okay,
but they know that they say it in jest.
Okay, all right. Let's move on.
You know, there are processes for contract awards in our country. If you are advertising for people to bid for contracts, you specify, and we see contracts, if you want, advertisements in the papers every day. Okay, so you say an announcement is being made for interested contractors to drill one borehole with, and then you specify the components of the borehole, or to bid for a community water system with the following components. If we come to the point where the Special Development Initiative Ministry actually puts out a public announcement inviting bids, okay, for, if you want, the building of these systems, it will come with clear stipulations of the kinds of components that will go into the particular system. Okay? And at that point, that is what the contractors who will be bidding for this contract will look at in order to send their pricing. Mind you, when advertisements are being made inviting people to bid for contracts, whether they are classroom blocks or supply of cars or whatever, the one who is asking for bids does not put prices in the public space. Right. It is not there. It is the contractors who responding to the advertisement then
having gone out to look at what the inputs are to put that project on.
Will come in and say that I am bidding for this project for 100,000 Ghana, I'm bidding for this, for that. And then per our laws, we would have to look at, when we open the bids to do the valuation, you know, determine who has better capacity, perhaps who has a track record, and who is likely to produce best quality material, etc., etc. And then finally, the cost of the project compared to the costs that have been submitted by all the other bidders. And then a determination is made as to who wins it. So even if we were to, that announcement was to come in the future and said borehole, but said borehole with overhead tanks, with solar powered panels, with multiple dispensing points, and etc., etc. The cost will not be the same as if you said borehole and simply said a borehole with, if you want, a single pumping dispensing outlet. Are you following me? Great. So in that sense, the name will not matter as much as the components that you are asking to go with what you are going to install. So the point I'm making by all this is to assure my friend that we haven't even gotten to the stage of even advertising for these contracts to be bidded for. We haven't gotten to award stage. So, for spending the money, we are far away from that point.
Okay.
But see, yesterday, the minority spokesperson on finance, Ato, indicated that even these contracts have been awarded already. The borehole in the classroom have been awarded already.
I see.
But I have also repeated that point.
They have been awarded already.
The information minister says nothing like
that.
But
what the information minister is saying is that we, who are the owners of the money, we don't need to know how much is to be given to them to spend.
Have I said?
And that it is when they are advertised, then we'll know.
All right.
You are coming to me for money.
Mr.
Give me the amount.
Gary Nimaku is watching us. He says I should ask you that, is there any receipt shown the public has proof of payment?
Any what?
Receipt.
By the giver.
The payment you are talking about.
That is the reason why I am saying that people paid money, and where are the receipts?
Okay.
These are the questions I'm asking my different Gary
Nimaku. Gary Nimaku, good morning. I hope you're good.
You come to my chambers and then we talk.
Oh, I see. Okay, we may not see you here before the new year. A quick one, you can wish Ghanaians a happy new year. Mr. Ahmad, let me start with you.
Well, let me wish Ghanaians a happy new year and a prosperous one in advance. And to say that yes, this year has been challenging, it has been difficult. We have seen the Christmas festivities indicating a dry Christmas, difficult, challenging year. But we have the Lord to console ourselves with. And that Ghana should continue to soldier on in the midst of these challenges. And inshallah, the people of this country, with all these challenges, will know that there would be some relief in 2020. But these challenges are just transient.
Okay.
I think that we should all remain good citizens.
Okay.
I also want to send these wishes to the invisible forces, the Delta forces, to at least let their activities die down with this year. And in the new year, we don't hear attacks on innocent Ghanaians.
I am grateful, Mr. Amalba. Mustafa Hamid, your time now.
Well, I wish Ghanaians a prosperous 2008. On our part, we want to make a commitment to the Ghanaian people that in 2018, that they will see an acceleration in the process of development in our country. The kinds of commitment and zeal that we have shown towards the development of our country, we hope to even double that effort so that people could begin to see the manifestation of these efforts in their daily lives. I wish everybody a prosperous 2018.
He's the Minister of Information, Mustafa Abdul Hamid, and Mr. Abraham Amaliba is a member of the NDC's communication and legal team. Thanks so much for sending in your messages. We'll read them when we're back. Stay with us. Sports comes up next.
Hello, good morning. It's time for sports here on New Day. My name is Yao Ofusulabi. Now on to our very first story, because a beautiful game has a beautiful result, because former Chelsea, Manchester City and AC Milan striker George Weah will be the next president of Liberia. The 51-year-old became the first non-European player to win the Ballon d'Or in 1995, just one of the many achievements over a prolific 18-year professional career that ended in 2003. Now he entered politics after his retirement and had been serving as a senator in Liberia's parliament. His victory was announced by Liberia's National Elections Commission on Thursday, and it said that with the 98.1% of the ballots counted, Weah had won 61.5% of the vote. He will succeed Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Africa's first elected female president. She defeated Weah in the elections in 2005, held shortly after the end of a brutal civil war. Right, so that's it with George Weah there. But as you can see behind me, George Weah, born on the 1st of October 1966. He also made his name while playing for Monaco for 5 seasons from 1987. And of course for AC Milan, where he won the UEFA Champions League with them. And everywhere he went, he was a winner. He also went to Chelsea to win the FA Cup for them in the early 2000s as well. The only African to ever win the Ballon d'Or, still holds that title, and also retired from football in 2002. But now let's go to the discussion table now. And we are here to talk about the Rotary Club of Accra, and they are organizing a Goals for Orphans program at the Legon Stadium tomorrow, and they are here to discuss that with me. Quite a star-studded lineup for that program tomorrow. Kwesi Appiah, who's coach of the Black Stars already. Stephen Appiah is also in there. But the men are in the studio to tell us more about this program. And Osei Ajiman Bedu is president of the Rotary Club, and also Richard Dankwap Boateng is also president-elect of the Rotary Club of Accra, Osu, Oxford Street. Gentlemen, you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much, Yao.
Thank you very much. Okay. Now, first of all, I mean, before we go to the program itself tomorrow, we hear a lot about the Rotary Club and all of that. What does it take to be a member of the club?
My president will take that.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, we are from the Rotary Club of Accra. Osu, Oxford Street. Okay. Yes, we have various chapters.
Okay.
Yes. Rotarians are professional leaders, professionals who put kind of a network to do humanitarian service. So Rotary itself is an international service organization.
Okay.
Yes, we pool our resources together and then we carry out humanitarian services. So if you are a professional and you want to join Rotary, you have to start attending our meetings,
okay,
and then you understand what Rotary means.
Yeah.
Then somebody has to introduce you in the first place.
Exactly.
And then after a while, when we think you are committed, then we induct you into Rotary. So you are coming up with your professionals, your vocational skills to help offer humanitarian service. Yes.
Right. So, I mean, tomorrow there's a Goals for Orphans, program that is also coming up. What went into the thinking, the thinking that went into this program? We just want to have a fair idea of how it all came about and all.
Okay. Thank you, Yao. The Goals for Orphans came about as a way of giving back to society what God has blessed us. Okay. We all know during Christmas, the stars are in town. And we felt we should take advantage of them. So we can assemble them at Legon Stadium where it would attract a lot of people so we can make enough money to support our orphans. Indeed, our Rotary Club has adopted Royal Seed Orphanage at Bodriasi, for which last year we did a couple of donations. And we felt we should open it up, expand our tentacles, so they and other orphanages could also benefit from our support. So that is why the Rotary Club of Accra, Usu, Oxford Street decided, as part of our objectives of reaching out to society where we live, to organize this program, which we intend to make it an annual affair. Whenever the stars are in town, we could draw on their spirit and their support to raise funds to support orphanages.
Now, Jim, can you take us through the lineup, what we should expect tomorrow, and the rates of the price, the tickets and all of that?
All right, thank you very much. Tomorrow we are putting together 8 teams. We have the current Black Star as one team. Okay. We have the old Football Association as one team. Okay. And then we are putting together 6 Rotary clubs. Okay. Yes, we have Rotary Club of Accra, Oxford Street ourselves. We have Ring Road Central. We have Accra, Legon East. We have Jolu. We have Laboni, and as it were. We have 8 teams. Okay. So we are going to play 4 games for the first session, and then when we have the winners 4, we play the semis and then the final.
So the Rotary teams are going to play against the Black Stars?
Yes, I'm playing myself.
Wow. The old Black Stars and the new Black Stars.
Yes.
Or professional Black Stars.
Okay, so you are playing together?
Sure.
Okay, okay. That's
so it's a 7-a-side at the Legon Stadium. And what it is that we are taking 30 Ghana cedis for... Okay. Yes, this copy of the tickets. Yeah, okay. Yes, for adults, and then those who are coming with their kids. 20. Yes, 20 for the kids. Okay. Yes, a lot of fun. We have music playing throughout. Food vendors will be available to serve food to anybody who wishes to eat there. We have a lot of drinks, a cocktail bar, and various kinds of drinks for everybody to have fun.
Okay. So final word, and we go. Final word on all of this, and we move.
Yeah, it promises to be fun galore. Yeah. It's end of the year, and it's a family affair. Rotary encourages members to come along with their family. Yeah. And so we have, even if I'm a Rotarian, my wife automatically becomes a Rotary Ann. And then if my wife is a Rotarian, then I become a Rotary Dick. So we encourage our wives and husbands and friends and what have you to join us with the kids, because the kids are also going to... It's a fun game, not only the gala that we play. Okay. So the kids could have access to some games.
All right, okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Osei Ajimanbedu and also Richard Dankwa-Boateng. Thank you very much, and a successful program tomorrow. But Goals for Orphans will be happening tomorrow. It's at 7 a.m. at the Legon Stadium, and you should grab your tickets, 30 cedis and also 20 cedis for the kids. But on to our next story, and it's been a year to forget for the Black Stars again, from the high hopes that the perennial underachievers would fix their regular Nations Cup. 2 coaches who bottled it at several stages to the World Cup campaign to forget a team that had it all. TV3 Sports' Nana Kojafre looks back on a difficult year for the Black Stars.
Every Nations Cup year begins with the hope that Ghana would end the long wait since 1982 for a Nations Cup title. Every Nations Cup year ends with a reflection of why it did not happen. The year began like most Nation Cup ones for Ghana. Apathy towards the tournament, then gradual belief as Ghana went through the group stages into the knockout stages that maybe this is the year, before it ended with the now customary semi-final defeat. It marked the end of Avram Grant as Black Stars boss after a 2.5-year period in charge, when he took Ghana to within 2 penalty kicks of Nations Cup glory before leaving to cheers of good riddance. He insists he is taking away only good memories.
There is a lot of good memories. There's a lot of good memories that I can take from the football, from the country, from the people around. I enjoyed very much to be here. It's a great country, great people. I don't say that there's no problems. If we speak about football, we was in one final, the second in 25 years, and then we reached the semi-final, which we wanted to reach the final. We deserve also to reach the final, but and to take the cup. But we didn't took it. It's hurt a lot, but this is football, what we can do.
By the time Grant left, Ghana's World Cup hopes were almost in tatters. The team had 1 point from a possible 6. And when Kwesi Appiah was appointed, there was the unwillingness to tie in qualification as a definite goal. Appiah's second coming started with a superb 5-star performance against Ethiopia, when the goals flowed from every direction and new players flourished, whilst established stars watched from the bench. It suggested that the start of something special, but the following month he reversed to the type of template lineups Grant was mocked for. The result of that was a 1-1 draw against Congo. It meant 4 points dropped at home in World Cup qualifying, and effectively the end of the road to the huge disappointment of Ghana captain Asamoah Gyan that night.
I've been there before, talking about this World Cup stage. It's in my blood right now, and then missing the World Cup this year is very, very difficult, personally, because although we've got young players in the team right now who haven't experienced it, but I feel it more.
If that game exposed Appiah's weaknesses, he has used that period after that to try and establish his authority. He has called up new players who have continued to thrive and chopped off established names like the Ayew brothers in a clear disagreement over their decision not to travel to Brazzaville. Appiah says part of his desire in 2017 was to get as many players as possible into a core team.
This year, 2017, I keep inviting about 4 or 5 players, at a go per match, and the essence of it was to build the team towards 2019. And for that reason, you start now, and then next year, when you have a core of your team, you try to trim the number down.
Talent or not, questions will remain about Appiah, and that those convinced that the Black Stars this year under his leadership provided further evidence that this is a job slightly above his competence grade.
Me, Kwesi Appiah has never inspired me in the sense that he can win a championship against a world-class side. His record, I think, shows it. Anytime he gets beyond the group stages, round of 16, enters the quarter, semi, and the final stages of tournaments, that is where he starts having problems. Tactically, I think that he's still not able to beat the very best at what he does. After 30-something years, what Ghana needs is somebody who is going to give us the trophy. And that is the problem I've had with him. I mean, he's an excellent coach, but I don't think he has that nerve and the gravitas to win us a trophy at this moment. Of course, I would like to be pleasantly surprised in 2019 if we should make it AFCON.
Appiah hopes that in 2018 he can answer many of those questions asked about him. There is a Nations Cup to qualify for, but that won't score him any marks. Ultimately, he may be judged by how he deals with the nagging problems of personnel feuds and egos that have for so long threatened to undermine his leadership of the side.
The most important thing, I being the coach, I need to make sure I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing what I think can benefit the nation. So I'm not looking at why did you call this, why didn't you invite this. If we are to listen to what everybody is saying, then we'll be inviting about 100 people.
Whichever way it goes, Appiah will hope his side don't look anything remotely close to 2017 when they just didn't, to quote a cliche, come to the party. Starman Christian Achu hopes that changes going forward.
It's been a difficult year for the Blasters of Ghana.
we couldn't qualify for the World Cup, and then in the African Cup that we played before, we couldn't reach the final. Also trying to encourage ourselves that we work hard for the future and prepare for the next African Cup.
So that was Nana Koja's first report. But Bet2 is an all-new web and mobile sports betting platform that allows you to play and bet from your phone anywhere, everywhere, and whenever at your convenience and collect your winnings via mobile money. With Bet2, you can bet before the start of games and even during the course of the match. You can actually bet with as low as 10 pesos. Bet2 offers an innovative real-time feature called Cash Out that allows you more control over your bets and offers the opportunity to take a return before the event has finished. Bet2 also offers benefits like jackpot bonus, multi-bet bonus up to 60%, instant payout opportunities, and many more. Bet2 is available on web and mobile and also on the app as well. Now register and get a free jackpot bet and stand a chance to win 150,000 Ghana cedis for free. Simply dial *714* 43 hash to register or visit betyear2.com.gh for more information. On that note, we end the sports segment here on New Day. My name is Yao Fosula with more sports news data. Enjoy your morning.
Well. So it's Christmas season, and of course, we're wrapping up the end of the year. Many people want some avenues to go and have fun, and certainly Judas and Delilah is one of those platforms for you. Speaking to me in studio today, I have Latif Abubakar. He's the playwright for Judas and Delilah, and one of the actors, Mac Pratt Dadzi. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
So let's talk about Judas and Delilah. It's Christmas. Many people want to go and watch something, a play, and certainly they're interested in Judas and Delilah. Where is it happening? When is it happening? Why is it happening this time around?
Okay, so it's happening, your last question, it's happening because among the plays we staged this year, most of our patrons and then some experts in theater thought that Judas and Delilah is the best of all the plays. So we decided to give people who didn't get the opportunity to watch another opportunity. There are people who watched, who want to watch again. So we're giving them another opportunity to kickstart their year right. Okay. That is how come it's starting, it's being staged on the 1st of January. Nice. So start your year right with lots of laughter, joy, and happiness. Certainly. And Judas and Delilah will give you that.
We'll do that. Mac Pratt, you acted in Judas and Delilah. Tell me how that was, and what's your role in Judas and Delilah?
Oh, okay. My name is Baba.
Oh,
Baba,
okay. I recognize you now.
Now I be the cleaner for the hospital. Yeah. When I they like Delilah so much, but Delilah know they like me. I do everything so Delilah know they like me.
So what did you do to Delilah?
Last hour, I know they want religion for you. Make them all come conference center can watch.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good one there. But yeah, I certainly did enjoy you. And of course, it was a hospital setting that was different. And you added a twist to it. Tell me about that as well.
So what we try to do with our plays is to educate people. And this time around, we focus on first aid practical tips. Right. So we partnered with the National Ambulance Service that gave us the fact on some basic first aid that you and I should know when you're at home or at work. So we based on the practical first aid tips, we developed a script, comical, that could educate people and entertain them too as well. So you're not just coming to laugh out loud and release stress, but you're actually going to learn some basic practical first aid tips.
Right. But what has changed about Judas and Delilah as you carry it along?
Oh, I think that a lot have changed. We call this reloaded because we learned our lessons from the past. We also have Ajete Anand, who is also playing a role now. He was not part of the first one. He's now the American boy in there. So you see that aspect, that naughty aspect of Ajete Anand on stage this time around too as well.
Certainly. But how has it been moving around for you as an actor? Certainly, you know, maybe you thought it would just be in Accra, but now I hear you had a show in Takrade, which did well. And so you tell me a little about you having to move around, and also Latif will tell me how that went in Takrade.
Oh, if we move around, it'd be very interesting. You see, they go people, you see, say people, they enjoy what they do. It'd be very nice. So we they like say they won't go outside, make people see what we do, we they want to do.
Right.
I think that for the first time we set a record in Takrade. We had 2 shows, that's 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. Unfortunately, a lot of people wanted to buy tickets at the gate. So we ended up having long queues at the gate. And then the auditorium couldn't accommodate those people.
Right.
I would say thanks to a lot of the patrons because they waited for 2 hours, 30 minutes for a third show at 10:30 p.m. So we ended up doing 3 shows in Takoradi, which ended around 12 p.m. Wow. So thanks so much for the people of Takoradi. They came out massively to support Judas and Delilah. And I'm sure, but I keep saying the people of Accra actually expect a test show. So please grab your tickets now. Because it drained the actors. Right. I mean, it's just that we couldn't just let people go. When you see them in a long queue, you just can't let them go. So we had to do a test show. It shouldn't happen in Takoradi. Let's grab our tickets now. And you can grab tickets from Airport Shell, Bachona Total, Sackerman Shell, Joy FM. Then you can also call 0275 027 000. There's something unique. We have what we call the Easy Tickets app. Okay. Where you can just download on your phone and get discounted tickets. Right. So just go to Play Store, download the Easy Ticket app, and then you can get discounted tickets.
But how much is the ticket going for?
60 Ghana cedis.
Very well. So on 1st January 2018, the first day in 2018, certainly, let's make it a time to be with Judas and Delilah cast as they act for you to laugh and learn. At this point, we'll take some more music from the Pax Romana UG Choir.
Christmas is with us. Join the celebration. It's a time to rejoice. Rejoice, my brother, my sister. Rejoice.
Thank you so much, Pax Romana Choir from UG. Certainly, they're giving us good vibes for the morning. Like Bright said earlier on, today is the last working day in the year 2017. So go out there and do your best. We're talking more about entertainment because Prince Dovlo has a new one coming up. It says Coming to Accra. And he's here in studio joined by Too Much, who was in Junkertown. They are going to tell us a lot more about Coming to Accra. Good morning.
Good morning.
So yeah, the show Coming to Accra. I hope it's not like Coming to America. What exactly is the whole drift with Coming to Accra?
Okay, so Coming to Accra is a Christmas comedy.
Okay.
And it's just a family packed Christmas comedy that's going to crack you up. So the story is about Too Much and SDK, who are from Takrade. They come into Accra on Christmas Day to withdraw a lottery they won in Takrade. That's what it's about.
Okay, so Too Much. You are in there coming from Tadi to Accra. How did that feel like?
Yes, you know, as far as I'm not in good terms with English. Many English in your fine.
That's right.
Now, so I would like to break it down for my fans out there to feel me. Yeah, coming to Accra, hustler made the load to na Marco office. Na meka me do na opera watch them there. Scan no a huge amount in 20 minutes.
Oh, how?
What are the children by headquarters to Accra? In see, ono ma me do po Accra. Na me so agents no twelo to no no. Or redeem no on back on I don't believe him nature there. Mr. Kamiskana, the near Ben in some was in the wall for share.
That's right. But Tadi ni Bakra, that's a big story because I mean he's coming for money and he doesn't seem amused with the fact that he has to come and speak big English here. So I don't know how you came up with that story, but tell me a little about what inspired you to come up with Coming to Accra.
What inspired me to come up with Coming to Accra was I felt, okay, it's been a while that we saw a Christmas movie out there, Christmas produced movie in Ghana out there. So it's like, okay, how about work on something for Christmas, a Christmas themed movie? Because earlier on I put out a movie in November that was Blue Film. So even before Blue Film, we had the plan to put out a Christmas comedy, and we had the story down. We're like, okay, let's still get this done this year than to push it to next year. Yeah.
Right. But when is it happening? Where? How much is it going for?
Okay, so the premiere is on 30th of December. That's tomorrow, 6 p.m. at West Hills Mall in Accra Mall. Yeah,
at the same time?
Yeah. Okay, so Accra Mall will be at 6 p.m. and West Hills Mall will be at 7 p.m. Yes.
Where do we get the tickets from?
So tickets are available at West Hills Mall and Accra Mall.
Okay.
Yes.
What's
going
the
for
price?
30 CDs.
Oh, a cool 30 CDs
Yes.
like that. Is there anything special happening tomorrow before the
So we
premiere?
have all the cast coming in there. There's Teacher Kwejo, there's SDK. Too much will be there. So you know what to expect.
It does sound
We have
like
some of
a
the
real
artists also
comedy.
coming through for the premiere, yeah.
Very well. So that's Prince Dovlo's coming to Accra for you. And of course, Too Much will also be there. But Too Much, give us a final one on Christmas. Like, yeah, the Christmas, what there can be beach your fans.
Xmas in the world of share. It's a tardy, the whole world tardy a down in Christmas is in baby ala.
Nema.
Na say I shown the tardy na say ba crowd there all of share na chele movie ne down no mu down and no ne feel nti no. And I shown tardy a ba crowd nti one brand in large numbers na dey. Na one more supporting on your fair because I was say I do feel but the papa o fear oye e na nti be expect one. What about so I won bro nya one special gift na oye for Xmas no. Me the bon on your performance.
That's
some
right.
bonyo track be you releasing no. You about 2 hours on that very day so e be expect on Saturday 30th e na you know 30 Ghana peso. Yes and see ye in hat trick. So you can imagine.
Maybe I am fine.
Yeah.
That's right. Everybody, let's all go to Silverbird and West Hills Mall on Saturday at 6 p.m. to watch Coming to Accra. And of course, we're supporting our own Ghanaian playwrights and directors because it takes a lot of effort to do. Let's support Ghana and let's make Ghana proud. But we have more from Pax Romana with their songs. Thank you.
Yeah.
us. Yes, don't stop yet. Just go down slightly. Of course, keep on. Don't stop yet. Go on. Of course, this is what we have come to. New Day is already in the new year.
Yeah.
And the next time we appear on your screens, that will be 2018. Yes. Just about some 3 more minutes to 9 o'clock, wrapping up New Day for 2017. It's been wonderful having you, and we couldn't have done this without you. We got up early, but because you are there to watch us, that's why it gives us the courage, the motivation to get up and come to you every day of the year. We're grateful, we're excited. You contributed to making us the best breakfast show in Ghana, and we can say that indeed you are the best viewers that we have. We're so grateful for your time with us. Johnny is back next week, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Amma will be here.
Yeah.
God has told us already that He will lead us to cross into 2018. And sure, we will be with you next year, 2018, Amma.
Yep, we certainly would. Again, thank you, and have a blessed 2018. You see us same time here on Monday. We'll be in 2018 by then. Have a blessed one. Go out there and be great. Do whatever you plan to do because you can achieve it with God on your side. Have a blessed weekend.
Okay, happy New Year to all of you out there, and especially to you, Antonio Sebuate. Your choir is in our studios. I'm sure you're enjoying them. Have a great, wonderful year. See you. Pax Romana will wrap up the show for us. Good morning once again.
Goodbye.
Audio Jungle.